Today we're going to talk about rotors and anti-seize. I don't know how many of you have tried to take off a rotor and it was seized to the hub. Okay, this happens all the time with me when I find them in a junkyard. But what I've done over the years is I use anti-seize on my rotors and my hub carriers, or the hub actually, not the hub carriers. Anything that's on the car, like around the brake area or anything underneath the car, I have a tendency to use anti-seize on everything. So today we're talking about anti-seize and rotors. So this is just an example of the front rotor I run on my coupe. It's a 323 by 30 S8 rotor. This is the anti-seize I use most. It's Bostik, Never Seize, anti-seize and lubricating compound. All right, this contains aluminum powder, copper powder, and zinc oxide. Some anti-seize will contain just zinc oxide or copper powder. This has a combination of all three. Works really well. I like it. On brake area, I have a tendency to use this. This is nickel anti-seize. The difference in this is this has an extreme heat of up to 1800 Fahrenheit. This one here, let's see, where does it go up? 2600 degrees Fahrenheit. So around brake areas, I have a tendency to use nickel, but either one of these will work. For the bolts for holding on my brakes and stuff, I use this Never Seize. Now this has a can like a paint can, so it's a pain in the butt. So what I do is I just keep it in a jar with my brushes in it, and it keeps it clean. So here we got our rotor, our hub, okay? I got my wheel hanger in it. If you want to find out more about these wheel hangers, there's a video on that. So what I do is I take my anti-seize. In this case, it's Loctite, the nickel. You got to remember that the rotor on a car probably gets hotter than anything else in the car. Even if you're running a turbo, the rotor gets hot. So what you want to do is you don't need a whole lot. You just run it around here. Now, I have a tendency to put it on lightly on the hub itself because I figure it can't hurt. Remember, this stuff rusts. If you live in a place that rusts a lot, you're going to get a lot of rust in this area. So it doesn't hurt. The other thing this does is your wheels. Your wheels, most of the time, are aluminum. Well, aluminum corrodes, and your wheel will seize around this area. Not just the rotor back here, but around this area. So after you got that on, you put on your rotor. So now, this rotor will not rust. Well, it won't rust between the bolt in this area around the hub. So when you go to take it off, it won't be hard. It'll just come right off. So this is how and why I use anti-seize on my rotors. You're basically using it on the backside, you're using it around the hub. When you go to put your wheel on, this will also prevent the aluminum from corroding to the steel. One last thing I want to mention about anti-seize is the lubrication in there has a tendency to kind of separate a little bit, so whenever you use it, you want to stir it up. Most of these come with a brush on the inside. I don't find that very convenient, so I use my own brush. These are my thoughts. This is what I do. You don't have to.